Welcome into today's show. My name is Joey Petersen. You're watching the Ravens Rundown. We got an awesome episode lined up for you guys. It's my favorite one. We do every single week. A Ravens Rundown mailbag. Every single question right here is from the flock themselves. Okay, so I get to know exactly what you guys want to know. Your questions, my answers, right here on the channel. Before we get into that, though, make sure you follow me on X because I love everything we do here on YouTube. But I cover the Ravens a lot more over there on Twitter. And so if you give me a follow there, you'll get even more constant coverage. Currently sitting at 1.1 thousand followers. My goal is to get to 1.2K. So I need a ton of Ravens fans. First 5 to follow me, get a follow back. You'll be able to find my Twitter in the comments and description of today's video. Click that link, give me a follow, and if you're one of the first 5, I'll follow you back. First up, we got Jennifer Glassman. Which rookie has the best chance to be a Pro Bowler? This is a really good question. So I think there's only really 2 options. I think your only 2 options are Mike Green or Malachi Starks. Because then you talk about your 3rd round pick, Emory Jones, he's hurt, and even if he's not hurt, he wouldn't be the starter. Teddy Buchanan, not going to be a starter. Carson Vincent, not going to be a starter. And then Bilal Kone, Robert Longerbeam, they're on season-ending IR. Garrett Dellinger might not even make this roster. And so really, when you get to it at the end of the day, and Ace Peoples going to be a great depth piece. He's going to be a great rotational guy, but probably not going to be a starter as well. It's really going to come down to Mike Green or Malachi Starks. I think the best chance, probably Starks. Because Starks is going to be an every down player. Okay? Starks is going to be an every down guy. And also, I just think there's a little more depth among the league when it comes to edge rushers, unfortunately. Especially when you take into account the AFC. Because in the AFC North alone, you got Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. There's just like a lot of talent, unfortunately. But let's be real. None of them are making the Pro Bowl because the Ravens aren't going to be playing in the Pro Bowl because, of course, they'll get to rest up that week getting ready for the Super Bowl. Kimberly Harmon up next. Hashtag Ravens. Which guard is going to make it to the 53-man roster? Ben Cleveland or Daniel F? They'll both make the 53-man. Ben Cleveland's going to make the 53-man. Daniel Faalele is going to make the 53-man. Daniel Faalele is going to be the starter out of those 2, though. Ben Cleveland's gotten his shot. He's gotten it in training camp. He's gotten it in the preseason. He just hasn't put a ton of great things on tape. And I know that I've pounded the table for him to get a little bit more of a shot, a little bit more reps. But I just think what they've seen, they like Daniel Faalele better. And so you might believe that, Daniel's not the guy for this role. They believe that he is. And unfortunately, it's not you and I making the shots. It's this Ravens organization. It's John Harbaugh, Eric DeCosta, everybody that's involved in that decision-making process. But if I'm taking your question at face value, both are making the 53-man roster. And Daniel Faalele, most likely, is going to be the starter. Barbecue Chicken. Could you see the Ravens signing Stephon Gilmore with all the cornerback injuries? Great question coming from Barbecue Chicken. So, Robert Longerbeam, season-ending IR. Bilal Kone, season-ending IR. Monday's practice report, Jalen Armour-Davis, Chidobe Awuzie, and Jair Alexander all not practicing. Now, Jalen Armour-Davis did practice on Tuesday, and so it's nice to see him coming back. And Jair Alexander is expected to be back week 1, but that's a lot of injuries in that cornerback room. I would say if these injuries happened earlier, like in the very beginning of training camp, maybe, but I think with how late that they've happened, I don't think so. I do think Stephon Gilmore is still a solid option at cornerback, though. Maybe not as a starter anymore. Maybe that's passed him by, but I know he's old, and he might lack speed and athletic ability, but he makes up for that tenfold, in my opinion, in just his knowledge of the game. He's one of the smartest players on the football field every time he steps in between the 53 and a third. And so I couldn't see it. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. But if it did happen, I would kind of be like, yeah, that's a pretty decent move. What do you think? Should the Ravens sign Stephon Gilmore? Give me a yes or give me a no in the comment section down below. Weigh in with your answer. My guy Christian Coveney up next. Joey, are you worried about how many Ravens are happening to not be at camp because of an injury or illness? Great question. Christian, we just showed you the graphic of all the guys not practicing. It's even more than that. That's just the cornerback room itself. No, because as of right now, like, it's not any of the massively important players. Sure, it's Isaiah Likely, but if you think about offensive options, I don't want to say he's far down the list, but he's not one or two, okay? That goes to Derrick Henry and then Zay Flowers. And so until it's like some of those guys, I'd be really concerned. But like, your offensive line is pretty intact, knock on wood. Lamar's pretty intact. The wide receiver room is pretty intact, knock on wood. Derrick Henry, your linebackers, your defensive line. And so, like, I'm not worried right now. Now, I wish there was less guys injured, for sure. Everybody does across the league, but that's just kind of the way this sport goes. Mike, Nintendo Master, is up next. What's going on, Mike? Will Katon Mitchell be traded? No, he won't. Unless somebody offers something way over what he's, like, valued at, then no, he won't. I think they really, really like Katon Mitchell. And why shouldn't they? Katon Mitchell's awesome. Like, Katon Mitchell showed us week 1 of the preseason against the Colts. Oh, yeah, this is why we were really excited about him as a rookie before that ACL tear. He's got everything you need to love in a running back. He's fast, shifty. He's got great patience, great vision. Him and Derrick Henry together are going to be an unbelievable 1-2 punch. Yeah, Justice Hill is there as well. Justice Hill is going to be great. I love Justice Hill. But we all know that if you're going to just hand off, run it with a running back, I think they choose Mitchell or Henry over Hill. Hill's just more dynamic than both of those guys with what he does in the passing game. So that's kind of why I have him at that RB2. But to answer your question, Mike, no. Katon Mitchell will not be traded. I got to talk about how awesome this sponsor is. Of course, I'm talking about our friends over at PrizePicks. Guys, I love watching football, but watching football while playing PrizePicks makes it even more fun. And this episode is brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. Preseason football is underway, and college football is here. So don't miss any of the action this season on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. You can download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. And guys, we all know that there are a ton of Lamar Jackson haters out there on the internet. If you are a Lamar Jackson supporter, right now on PrizePicks, is more or less for pass yards on the season 3,450. I absolutely love that number. Give me the more. For Caleb Williams, I think the hype's getting a little too much. Give me the less, 3,600 and a half pass yards. Speaking of half passing yards, all Dak Prescott has to do in week 1 is throw for half a pass yard. PrizePicks always does this stuff. Just gives you little max discounts here and there. And that's why I like to call them our friends, because they look out for the best of us. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, run your game. We got next, Papa Shook, my guy. What's up, Papa? How likely is it we sweep the AFC North? I wouldn't say likely. Just because the Steelers historically have given Lamar Jackson some fits. Now, I think he's over that. He dominated them the last 2 times he played them, into the season, and then first game of the postseason as well. And so, but I just think, like, that's kind of a toss-up. That's going to be a split itself. I think you sweep the Browns. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you sweep the Bengals again either. Like, guys, I was watching preseason Monday Night Football, Commanders, Bengals, and the Commanders absolutely dominated the Bengals when they both had their first-team players in there. Both their starters were playing. Washington was up 14-0 in the blink of an eye. The Bengals defense is somehow going to get worse. And so because of that, I do think you beat them twice. I think you put like 40 points on the Bengals twice this season. Tyler G is up next. If there's one free agent who would like to see the Ravens for the season, who would it be? Hashtag Ravens. That's a great question. With everything going on in corner, kind of like I said earlier, I wouldn't mind another corner for help. I also wouldn't mind a guy like Justin Simmons being signed. I think that would help a ton. He has so much free safety experience. Just to be a rotational guy back there, you know, I know Ardarius Washington's ACL or Achilles tear was a bummer for all of us, and I think Justin Simmons would be good. And at this point, he hasn't signed anywhere, so I don't think he'd be that expensive. And so those are the two. Stephon Gilmore, Justin Simmons. I would have said C.J. Mosley at linebacker, but obviously he retired, and so that's not an option anymore. Moggs, does Higgins end up starting over Simpson and Buchanan this year? No, he doesn't. I think the preseason, and I fall victim to this, can get us all fired up about these young players who are UDFAs that are going to make this roster. And we should be excited. Like, they're playing great football. But then we realize, like, once the season starts, oh, I haven't seen that guy in a while. They're 53 men to a roster, only 22 guys play. You add in rotations, 30 guys, 32, leaves 21 guys that you don't really see that often. This happened last year with Dayton Wade, and I was like, don't put in Deontay Hardy into the 53-man over Dayton Wade. And then they did, and then we really didn't see Deontay Hardy that much, even when he was healthy. And so Higgins is a great story right now, and he's playing wonderful football, and I think he deserves to make that 53-man roster. But even if he does, we will see far more Trenton Simpson and Teddy Buchanan than Higgins. Higgins won't start. You'll still see him because there's only really 4 inside linebackers, but he's not going to start. Joe Flacco, HOF. Joe Flacco, also funny enough, obviously happened earlier this week, will be the starter for Week 2 against the Browns. How can the Ravens beat the Bills? Good question. Basically, what's your key to victory against the Bills? I think it starts with stopping James Cook, okay? If that offense can run the football as well as Josh Allen, sit back and kind of pick you apart, it's a really hard offense to stop. And so it starts, in my opinion, with James Cook. Limit turnovers offensively. That was the big thing that bit you in the playoffs. Interception, couple of fumbles. That crushed you. Absolutely crushed you. And then I'd love to cause some turnovers as well. I know Josh Allen made a massive improvement in turnovers from 2023 to 2024, but we still know he has that little bit of a gunslinger in him. Still can be turnover prone from time to time. And so he is still liable to throw a few picks. If you can get that snowball going, give your offense opportunity to score in a short field, that's going to help you a ton. What do you think is the key to victory for the Ravens against the Bills? You let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you got me on social media, ladies and gentlemen, at Joey Petersen 8 on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. YouTube.com/RavensTV. This is the best coverage you're going to get anywhere else on this platform. I can promise you that. Daily, anything you could want right here at the Ravens Rundown. And if you subscribe, we'll see you next time.